So if you find that you have difficulty with these things, make it an impersonal affirmation. Say, it is possible to manifest anything. All things are possible to be manifested. Something like that. So you're not relating it to yourself, you're just open to the idea. And through that openness, then you'll have the opportunity to make the change in consciousness. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about why it's so important that we live the law. Because there's not really anything other than a decision within yourself that you have to make. It's a decision within yourself to be loyal, faithful to that which you imagine, that it may come to pass in physicality. Now, of course, if you're new to the channel, we speak here on how there is one law, one cause of all the phenomena of life, and it is the imagination, consciousness, some may call it mind, but here we discuss it as the human imagination, to which all things are possible. If there's anything in your life that you're manifesting, you have to first know what it would feel like were you that person now that has it. What would it feel like if you were your ideal now, or you had that thing you're after? It could be anything. It could be a change in physical appearance. It could be a change in your love life, a change in your friendships, a change in your career, anything, your income. You could change all of these things if you're willing to imagine something other than what you're experiencing physically. Now, many of us do not realize that we are perpetuating our physical circumstances based on how we are imagining. Although we are learning here that imagination creates reality, and therefore imagination is the true reality, capital R, but we may not actually be living this. We may not actually believe that we are more than this physical body. This body that I call Brendan is not all that I am. Your body that you may call Jack, John, Susie, it is not all that you are. You are pure consciousness. When you say I am, that is you. You may forget who you are, where you are, what you are, but you will never forget that you are. You can always say I am. And we know that that I amness is God Himself, the one to whom all things are possible. Because Abraham was told in the Bible, I am is the name of the Lord forever and forever. I ask you, are you willing to accept the fact that you are a limitless imagination to which all things are possible, or are you going to continue to identify with this limited body or mind? Now, you cannot be double-minded about this. Many people will say, I can totally imagine this, or I may have manifested this successfully, but this other thing, I just can't do it. This other thing, I don't see any way. This other thing is impossible to me. Now, if you say that, then you are being double-minded. And we know, let not a double-minded man expect to receive anything from the Lord. This means that you're not capable of sustaining a belief that it's not possible to get what you want, and a belief that you already have what you want. They are two completely separate states of consciousness. Now remember, as Neville Goddard taught, a state of consciousness is an attitude of mind made up of a body of beliefs. The state of consciousness of, I have my ideal now. I am as rich, successful, loved, and joyful as I desire to be. There's a difference between the state of joy, fulfillment, satisfaction, and the state of limitation. You can tell by analyzing your thoughts. Of course, we want the conscious mind to be the watchman at the gate. This is what's going to tell you, am I thinking something that is serving my purpose, in alignment with my ideal now, or is it something that's holding me back, something that is not advancing me in consciousness, something that will not benefit me by imagining it to be true? Many people are unaware. They do not realize that when they're imagining their physical circumstances to be the truth, they are preventing any possible change to the circumstance. The poor man, unless he becomes wealthy in consciousness, will remain a poor man. This is the gift of freedom given to each and every one of us. We have the power, the free will to choose whom we will serve. Choose this day whom you will serve. Are you going to serve the idea of lack, limitation, that things are impossible to you? Or will you serve the Lord, your true, impersonal self, to which all things are possible? All things. The only limit is your belief. Neville Goddard, my favorite manifestation teacher, said time and time again, I have not found a limitation for this. But it comes down to your ability to believe. Now, when it comes to something like physical changes, it is possible. All things are possible to God. All things are possible to one who believes. That's what's told in Matthew and in Mark. So either all things are possible or nothing is. And if you've manifested anything successfully, consciously, you can manifest anything. But what is the basis of your belief? If you want, for example, to manifest a physical change, you must first believe that this is possible. If you're trying to imagine it true, but deep down inside you don't believe that that is something that can be manifested either by yourself or by anyone else, you have to handle that belief first. Perhaps just keep it casual, keep it more broad, and say, it's possible to manifest physical changes. It's possible to manifest a better face. It's possible to manifest better height, better body shape, whatever it is that you're after. First, let your mind become open to the idea that it is possible. And then you will be more successful in your attempts to imagine it real. Otherwise, that idea in the back of the mind is going to continue to limit you. You may feel for a second that you are your ideal now, that you look how you want to look, and then you'll fall back because your mind won't accept it until you handle this, because belief that it's possible is the basis of this belief. Now, I use physical changes because many people have doubts about it. Maybe they can manifest money, love, success, but they think that there are some things that either they can't or no one can manifest. But it could be anything. Maybe you can manifest love, but you can't manifest wealth. It's not that you can't, but you have to believe that it's possible. You have to get used to releasing the idea of how, when, if, and let it be easy and effortless. So if you find that you have difficulty with these things, make it an impersonal affirmation. Say, it is possible to manifest anything. All things are possible to be manifested. Something like that. So you're not relating it to yourself, you're just open to the idea. And through that openness, then you'll have the opportunity to make the change in consciousness. Change your state from looking one way to knowing that you look like your ideal now. From perhaps making a smaller amount of income to the state of making a grand amount, more than enough. So you always have all your bills paid. Everything is taken care of easily and effortlessly. Whatever it is, but make sure that you handle the basis. If you recognize that there's something limiting, holding you back, maybe you know on a deeper level you don't think it's possible to manifest a certain thing, you have to handle it. Go into the silence of meditation and tell yourself repeatedly, just with calm focus and openness, all things are possible to me. All things are possible to me, until you feel it real. What would it feel like if you knew you could have anything you desire? What would you actually feel like if you could manifest anything you desire quickly, easily, and effortlessly? Tap into that feeling because you have to discover self. Only by discovering self can you change self. And as Neville Goddard said, there is no one and nothing to change but self in this world. If there is anything you would like to see changed in this world, you must first find yourself and change that self. And self is made up of beliefs. Self is I am. What are you saying I am to? Are you saying inwardly, I am incapable of manifesting this or that? Or are you saying, I am my ideal now? And it's not just your thoughts, but also your feelings. What are you accepting? What are you admitting? All things, when admitted, are made manifest by the light. So watch your mind and ask yourself with each thought, is this serving my purpose or not? Don't be double-minded. The Bible puts it very plainly. You are either with me or you are against me. And that means when it comes to your consciousness, Christ, imagination, God, the subconscious, you are either with your ideal or you are against your ideal. Ask yourself, analyze your thoughts. In Neville Goddard's lecture, Feel After Him, he says, many people think that they are living by this law when they know it. But if you observe them and their thoughts and what they're imagining in a 24-hour period, or the 16 hours that they're awake, you will find that they are not really living by it. You have to know and notice and realize and be aware, are you imagining things that you want to experience or things that you don't want to experience? If you are, it's okay, it's only a habit, but break that habit of imagining what is unlovely and ask yourself, what is the ideal thought I could have right now? What would be nice to imagine for myself or for another? What's the most loving thought I can have right now? And give it to yourself. Whether you're visualizing or you're affirming or just using an attitude of mind like pure ecstatic joy, be faithful to it. Remember, faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. The Bible tells us, blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. Can you believe in that which is not yet seen physically, but seen with the inner eye, the eye of imagination or consciousness? If so, then all things are possible to you, and you have no limitations other than that which you admit as limitations for yourself. Now, I want to take a moment to speak on detachment. Many people have trouble imagining other than what's going on physically. And I will tell you that unless you actually understand and believe and accept and admit that imagination is the reality, capital R, you will always be attached to your physical senses. Now, we are told to go into the silence, make a practice of detaching yourself from the physical senses. This sense world feels so real that we believe more in it than in ourselves as imagination. But if you make a habit of just practicing with consciousness, practicing on focusing your awareness, practicing on perhaps imagining yourself somewhere else, not to accomplish anything or to manifest anything, but for the sake of feeling into the reality of imagination. As you do this, you're developing a relationship with the subconscious mind. You may reach a point where you can even feel yourself to be in more than one place at once. If you listen to Neville Goddard's lecture, Brazen Impudence, he was actually able to be seen by a friend many miles away from where his body sat in a chair. They even wrote him a letter about it to confirm the date and time. If Neville could be in two places at once, you definitely can manifest physical changes. You definitely can manifest all these things that people will say are impossible. But please, I urge you, stick to the golden rule. Recently, someone on my TikTok was saying, even if someone is married, I can manifest them for myself. I'm not going to say that you can't. All things are possible to you. But I learned this from Neville and from the Bible. And the Bible says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Everyone is you pushed out. So maybe you don't believe there are others, but they are still you. I would not like anyone taking my spouse. Would you like someone taking your spouse? If not, do not take from another. Don't take another man's person or business, or a woman's person or business, or a person's person or business. But I urge you please to follow this golden rule. When it comes to detachment, it's much easier if you can, no matter the circumstances, say, this could happen, that could happen. I may feel this way or that way. I may be upset or joyful. It doesn't matter because my ideal is already done. That's it. It's as good as done. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to try for it. I don't have to focus on it. It's done now. That is the acceptance. That is admittance that what you want is already true. If you can remain faithful like that to your ideal, it will come to you easily and effortlessly. When we are sure, it feels like we can forget about it. I've said that before, but it's so true. Oftentimes, many people find success after they imagine a few times, they feel truly satisfied, so satisfied that they completely forget about the desire. And then it comes somehow, some way that they didn't even expect. It's not our job to figure out how it could possibly come. It's not our job to figure out if or when it will come. We know there is one law, and that is imagining creates reality. There is not one experience you will have in physicality that is not caused by imagination. Remain aware of this and you will have an easier time operating and living the law. Now I want to take a moment to touch on subconscious mind audios. Now I think these can be very helpful, but I will recommend only use them if you created them. Guard your consciousness by creating your own. You can use the Parrot app, which will repeat whatever audio you put into it. Create your own personal list of affirmations that work based on your ideals. Because I at one time was using a subconscious mind audio, a subliminal audio, overnight, listening to it as much as possible, and it was a limit breaker audio. Now, of course, using this implies that I believe in limitation. So I found quickly, overnight, as I was listening to it in my sleep, I had a vision. In this vision, I was sitting at a table eating a black crab, shell and all. Makes absolutely no sense. I don't eat shellfish, I don't eat seafood, but in this dream I was eating a black crab, shell and all. And I always like to learn from the symbolism of the Bible. Looking it up, a black crab is said to be an unholy animal, and it means spiritual attack. Now, I don't believe there's really anything that can attack me, for love is the only power in this world. But that to me was a sign that imagination is king. If I have to rely on some outside subconscious audio, subliminal audio to break my limits, then I'm limiting myself because I think I need something outside of me. You don't need anything outside of you to make your dreams come true. You only need the ability to imagine and feel it real now. It's not supposed to be difficult. It's not supposed to be effort. It is supposed to be perfectly peaceful, harmonious, but only as you allow it to be. So I urge you, please make your own. And that's all I'll say on the matter. Because if it was big enough for me to get a vision about it, then that's big enough for me to tell you to be careful, okay? Know that your imagination is king. What you are imagining, thinking, feelingly is king and will create your reality and experience. So I'm sure that was helpful. If you find it valuable, you can visit my website below where I have my book, Doing God's Work, my specific person manifestation guide, or you can book one-on-one coaching with me. As always, thank you so much for watching. I love you all very much, and I will see you next time. Take care.